So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working in the menu, and then we're going to go to the Create and Manage column, go down to Ads Manager. And it's important to note while this loads that as of the creation of this course, Dynamic Creative is available for these objectives. And so I'll show you what I mean here. So if we create a new campaign, you're going to notice that this offers us all these different objectives. And if you've been in Facebook advertising, you know about this stuff. And if you're new to it, we're going to be diving into objectives very soon. But you see there's all these different objectives. Well, Dynamic Creative is available for brand awareness, reach, traffic, app installs, video views, lead generations, and conversions. And this is something that you can see in the study guide, where you're going to see specifically which objectives this is available for. So another note is that you're going to need to be in the quick creation way of creating campaigns, not the guided creation. And this option to switch is going to be up here in the upper right hand corner. So this is important. You're only going to be able to access Dynamic Creative as of the recording of this course if you're in the quick creation workflow. So let's set up a new campaign. We're going to set traffic as the objective, which is the default here for us. And let's name it. We're going to name it US Technicians Dynamic Creative Test. And then we're going to go down and we're going to name our ad set. And just a note here on how we're naming our ad set. The ad set is where you define things like the budget and also the audience. So I usually like to name my ad sets based on the audience that I'm going to be promoting the different ads in that ad set too. And then we're going to go down here and then we're going to name our ad, and let's name it Dynamic Creative Test. And then we're going to click Save to Draft. And then let's set the campaign spending limit here at $100. And so notice that this is for the entire campaign. So even if you define different budgets for your ad sets, it's going to make sure that all of your ad sets combined don't spend more than $100. So kind of the campaign spending limit is at the top. Ad sets are below that at the, it's going to pull from your entire campaign spending limit there. So now let's click on Ad Set in the upper right. And then let's toggle this Dynamic Creative feature here, and we're going to select Continue. And then down here, let's switch this to a lifetime budget. We'll just maybe make this $100. All right, so this is the audience that I'm going to be using. Here are the characteristics, and I saved this audience from a previous campaign. All right, as we get started here setting up the ad, I just want to warn you that sometime you're going to see the option for dynamic ads. Dynamic ads are different than dynamic creative, so don't click the dynamic ads option if you see that. So the first thing we're going to do is add our images. So we basically go down here. We're going to select the Dynamic Creative Test. Then we're going to select our images. And here are our 3 images, and you have these in the practice files folder. Let's confirm those. And then now let's add in your 3 above add text creative variables. So the ones that we're going to be using, we're going to be testing the convenience, career advancement, and return on investment tests. So that's going to go up here in the text field. All right, so as we put in our first one, we're just going to click this add button, and then let's put in our other 2. All right, so now we have 3 different text variables. So now let's add in our destination URL. And if you look in the study guide, you can use the URL that I've set up, which is go.easel.co/ssmd. All right, so now we're starting to see a preview, which is kind of exciting. So now let's add in our different headlines that we're going to be testing. And just like above, we're just going to click Add to open up the box for us to add in different creative elements that we can test. And then now I'm going to do the newsfeed link descriptions the same way. Great, so now you can see either different variations, and you can also see how it'll look in the different places that you can deploy your ad to. So for example, the Instagram feed is going to look a little bit different than something like maybe the audience network. All right, so let's X out of this, and then we're going to go down. And then let's make sure that our pixel is activated, and then we'll click Publish. And congratulations, you just set up your first dynamic creative test. All right, now through the magic of video production and course designing, I have completed this dynamic creative test and I can show you the results now. So let's build your skills here on not only looking at your results, but also how to use this breakdown feature within Facebook ads so that you can kind of go deeper into all the different things that are available as data points from your test. So to start with, let's look at customizing your columns and saving a view. I think this is really useful. So you're going to look at, by default, you see that this is kind of the way that this thing is set up, but I think that it's better if you customize your columns in a different way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, first we need to be selecting the right campaign and ad group. So I'll show you how that works. So if we go to campaigns, then what we're going to do is make sure that we click, and I've actually named my dynamic creative tests, and then we want to select the right ad group. So there's our US Technicians Without College. So just make sure that this little check mark is there, and then let's check mark this one. All right. And then we're going to go to columns, and then let's go to customize columns. And then so under performance, I suggest that you click impressions, clicks, CPC, and CTR. So you're going to see that if we go to performance here, I'm going to unselect all of these guys. And then let's do impressions, clicks, CPC, and CTR. And then I'm going to keep deselecting. And you notice that you can actually deselect over here. So I'll deselect budget, ends, schedule, and error. So now I've got my 4 there. And then so if we click apply, then you're going to get this really simple view that I think is really helpful. And if you want to, you can save it as a preset and then click the name. I'm going to cancel because I've already saved it as a preset. So I selected it as, all right, so this is my dynamic creative view. So you're going to see here that it got a lot simpler in terms of what it displayed to me. And I think that that's really helpful. You can always customize it as a way that works for you. And then so first I'm going to show you how to see what Facebook thinks was the best combination. So what you're going to do is click on the breakdown here and then go to buy dynamic creative asset and then go to combination. All right, so that's kind of interesting. You can kind of hover over it and it says that this was your best combination, but I think that's pretty simple. Let's look at some things that are a little bit more interesting. So for example, how could you find out which regions responded well to your ad? Well, so first of all, let's go to the breakdowns here, and then we want to clear all breakdowns or else it'll keep building additional filters. So clear all breakdowns, and then let's go to by delivery and region. Okay, now that's kind of interesting. So let's click CTR. All right, now you're going to see that Nevada and Colorado had a much higher CTR rate than other places. It looks like Nebraska did pretty well too. So that might be interesting in terms of targeting where you want to be deploying your ads most. You can kind of be searching for the most successful audiences, or you can also just click it again, and then you're going to be able to see which regions where it didn't work. So you can see where there were some impressions but no responses. All right, so let's go here and let's clear these breakdowns again. And then now let's find out how to view breakdowns by multiple filters. So let's use 2 in this case. So what we're going to do is see which image worked best for each age group. So we're going to be in the breakdown menu again. Let's go to by delivery. Let's click on age. And then we're going to go to by dynamic creative asset down here, and we're going to click image. So now you're seeing which images were most successful for different age groups. So if we click by CTR again, we'll sort from the best to the worst. So it looks like, for example, from 25 through 34, this was the best image, kind of by far, was this image with the guy painting. And this stuff can be kind of helpful, right? All right, so if you want to see some further study about using this type of stuff, the breakdowns feature and dynamic creative, there's a link for you in the study guide.